Hello, fellow book nerds. I'm Mahesh Sharma from Team Booknerds, and I cordially welcome you all to an exclusive live session with the author GC Nightwalker as he unveils the secret behind his two amazing books, Dreams of Perfection and Sword and Flame. So we are just waiting for the author to join. He's actually outside, so he's just going back to his room. So till he joins, I'll just let you know about the author and both his books. So to tell you something about the author, GC Nightwalker is the pen name of Gopal Chakrabarti, and he is a man of many heads. He's a writer, he's a self-taught musician, he's a gamer, and he has his own YouTube channel about gaming and reaction breakdown under his pen name GC Nightwalker. So definitely check it out. And he majored from his college as a mathematics major in June 2023. And apart from all these achievements, he is also active on Instagram, where he showcases his artwork on mostly abstract topics. So be ready to be inspired by many of his creative genius, and let's discover the facets of GC Nightwalker. So to talk to you about the book, Dreams of Perfection was the debut novel of GC Nightwalker. And the book follows Abaran Blueberry, a 17-year-old girl, as she is thrown into a world unknown to her, which is a mix of magic and technology. And the world building in this is phenomenal. The characters are amazing. The characters all range from 15 to 17, 18 age group. So I would feel that this is more towards the young adult genre. So I would definitely recommend to all those people who are looking for young adult themes, young adult fantasy novels. And the second book is Sword and Flame, The Afterthought of a Dream. So in the beginning of this, the author does mention that you can either read both of these books as part of a series, or you can read these as standalone. But I feel like to get a more immersive experience and to get a complete sense of the world that GC Nightwalker has built, you should definitely read both these books together and treat them as part of a series. And the book does end on a cliffhanger, so I'm hoping that we would get more books from this. And so these books, I would say, are a must read for anyone who is looking for a mix of fantasy, science fiction, and a little of action and suspense, because the storyline it's fast paced. Like, you don't need to feel like everything is moving very slowly and you need to just keep waiting. Okay, so author is back. So it's an honor to have you here with us, GC, and I'm confident that this section will be insightful and enjoyable for everyone. The audience, you guys can use this opportunity to interact with the author by asking questions and leaving comments below. So without further ado, let's start to know more about GC and his incredible work. So starting off, I would just like to say the visual appeal. Like, these covers of your books are so visually stunning, and I feel like they are either hand-drawn because you do artworks on Instagram, or they're illustrated. So can you share a bit about the journey behind creating these unique covers, and how do you feel they contribute to the overall atmosphere and appeal of the novel?
Right. So I actually am a cinephile more so than like a reader. Like, I am a reader, but I watch movies more. And most of my writing style is actually inspired from movies and anime. I'm not going to make any secret of that. So the reason that this is the way that this is because when I first came out with the idea, one of my friends, one of my juniors, 1 year junior to me, she actually has an Instagram art page. I can let you know, but yeah, she's quite popular. She doesn't need my help, but she was starting her Instagram art page at that time, and she just had commissions open. So I got the idea that why not, make few of my characters in by illustrate a few of my characters so that I can get inspiration to write, because I was kind of going through a writer's block period. So I got those characters made, and that art style kind of stuck with me. After that, to remake the covers, I was not that good at digital drawing. So I made the outline and the basic idea of the cover. Both of the covers was mine, but then I had few people. Both of them are on Instagram. Two artists who basically made the covers based on my ideas. I told
Okay.
them to accept banana, and they illustrated it for me. I can name their accounts, name all three of the accounts if you need.
But that's Truly fascinating. Like you helped. Okay, so moving on, I want to ask you a personal question. Like, do you believe in the saying, don't judge a book by its cover? Because as a reader, the first thing I do when I pick a book is judge its cover.
I mean, it kind of depends. Well, yes, I do believe in the fact that an author is fundamentally writing the book, right? And
Hmm.
cover design is a fundamentally different art style altogether. So I do believe that there is no correlation between the cover and what the book contains on if you speak generally. But then again, you can also make the argument that it is the author's sort of responsibility to catch the eye of the reader. So, if I write something, right? If I write something, it is my responsibility to make the cover appealing enough so that someone picks up. So, like,
Yeah.
I get both sides, but yeah, on a moral level, I would say, yeah, I should not judge a book by its cover. Yeah.
But I think it also depends on, like, if you're moving through a bookstore and the color pops out to you, then you pick up the book. Like
Yeah.
these definitely have these, striking colors. This
Yeah.
purple and this blue definitely has a striking color.
Yeah.
And regarding the cover, I was reading the book and then I came at that scene where this picture made sense to me. And I was like, as a reader, that's such a fangirl moment when the title makes sense to you or the cover makes sense to you. So when this
Yeah.
picture finally made sense to me, I felt so happy. So I think cover,
What was
of
the
course, has a
picture? I,
big
I
part of
cannot
it.
see the picture.
Can you see it now?
No, I actually cannot see you ना आपका screen
Oh,
पूरा black है.
oh yeah, sorry. It's actually Dreams of Perfection ka back cover, where the girl,
Okay.
she, everything around her is electric, lightning
Yeah,
and all.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So like
Okay.
book marketing girl has commented that amazing artwork. So like it truly is amazing artwork. Even this one, in the
Yeah.
Sword and Flame, where you have done the half and half, like half is pink and
Mm.
other half is black and dark and all. So I especially love the Sword and Flame part. The first thing I thought when I picked up this book was that it has amazing artwork. And
Yeah.
another interesting aspect of the books are the drawings in the second book, which in the Sword
Mm.
and Flames. And I feel
They are
like,
mine. They are mine.
oh, oh yeah, wow, these are actually yours. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And it
Yeah.
actually adds an extra layer of visual appeal, visual storytelling in the fantasy world. Because in a fantasy world, everything is just imaginative to you. So you need these stories or maps or whatever to help you understand and make sense of what you're actually reading and where everything is placed. So these, like, if these artworks, you said that these artworks are yours, so that's actually even more cool. And so,
Mm.
what sparked the creative process behind these illustrations? Like, was it always your idea to include these? And considering the Dreams of Perfection don't have these drawings, so did it come about in the
Mm.
second book?
No, it came about in the first book, but the thing is, I was 18 when I was making the first book. So,
Okay.
like, I was kind of winging the whole thing. Like, publishing was new to me, and like the entire idea of even having something you have written published was new to me. So I thought, ki, let's just get something out. We will think about perfection later. I mean, which is kind of ironic. But yeah, the thing is, I did think about making illustrations, but then at the time I didn't have. See, it costs a lot, and it should, right? Like
Yeah.
to make an illustration, it takes a lot of effort, so it costs a lot. Now my parents are supportive enough of this that they pay for my publishing costs and all. But ultimately, they are also Indian parents. उनको भी यही चाहिए कि बच्चा PhD करेगा and you know all that, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm doing PhD. So, yeah, so the thing is, I needed to find a way which, like, I needed to get something out so that mera confidence बढ़े. But then by the time Sword and Flame came around, I started drawing on my own. So I was like, कर ही लेते क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है.
So
And
you're
another,
being
and
talented.
another, yeah, and another thing is many aspects of so I have taken aspects from certain mythologies and religion. So, for example, the very last picture in my book, in Sword and Flame, that is in the sky, right?
Yeah.
that is a orphanem, which is a type of angel uh, in the Bible, right? Now, here's the thing about biblically accurate angels. Um, many novel series and comic book series that have biblically accurate depictions or mythologically accurate depictions. Like, for example, Percy Jackson has a lot of mythologically accurate things in it.
Yeah.
Similarly, the Shadowhunter series has a lot of biblically accurate things in it. But the problem is whenever they are adapted to the live screen, to the big screen, they are always sort of generalized. Like, if you have seen the even the recent Percy Jackson series, right?
Mhm.
Uh, and if you have seen the original Percy Jackson movie, both of them may hell is not depicted as it is depicted in the novels,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Similarly, yeah, and similarly for these shadow hunters, there was a very awful movie in the beginning, but then they kind of made it into a show. And in that show, when the angel Raziel shows up, uh,
hmm.
the angel looks like an angel is in pop culture. But if you read the book,
Hmm.
that is not how Raziel is supposed to look. He's supposed to be burning literally, and he's supposed to have eyes all over his body, which none of which was shown, right? I had this feeling that even if so for example, that Orphanum Angel and the one before, uh, which is I think Lucifer's true form. You know that there's this sort of page where there's like a long spire and there's a guy sitting on it, and behind him there is like another guy. It's I think
Yeah, yeah.
when he goes to hell first.
Hmm. Yeah.
So so that is Lucifer's true form as a cherubim. But again, if I just write the descriptions, and if someone is to illustrate them, there people are just going to look at angel and they're going to default to the winged man picture of angel. Uh, whereas I, uh, yes. So the book marketing girl is asking why she didn't like the Percy Jackson series. Well, you wouldn't be alone in that. I can say that.
But I love the Percy Jackson series, the new one.
No,
It's like
I
it's
I
way
loved it as
better.
well. I'm just saying she's not alone in disliking it.
Hmm. So talking about
Yeah,
what you all said, like I feel, the filmmakers and they all need to appeal to the pretty aspect of the drawings. Like
yeah,
they can't make it the real one because they need to find the audience needs to find it visually attractive, so they would see it. But I think the
yeah.
real beauty actually lies in, the showing the true aspect. Like as you
Hmm.
said, those
Yeah,
biblically accurate drawings and all. So I think it needs to be shown because it would add
yeah,
the authentic beauty to it.
yeah. See, the point of me putting those elements in is that it's scary. Like you have this you are suddenly at one place, and suddenly there is like a gigantic eye in the sky,
Hmm.
and it's looking down on you, and there's like a announcement coming from somewhere, no everywhere at once, that your entire planet is now locked off from the rest of the universe and all that. So it's you know it's terrifying, and you need to show the true. Anyways, yeah,
No, I get what you're saying. Like it definitely did help.
yeah,
And, okay, so you first had the idea of this world, the one in Dreams of Perfection,
yeah.
at young age of just 10. And like,
Mm.
let me just say that's amazing because at 10, I had zero brain thoughts, zero. But you had the
Uh,
idea for this complete book, and it took several years before it evolved into your debut novel. So, how did your initial idea transform over time, and how has the journey been from writing it to publishing it?
okay, so my initial idea, I'm going to be honest, was far removed from what it is now. It was my idea was that I was writing. So okay, I was very bullied as a kid, um, because I was extremely talented. Apparently, I mean, according to them, I just find my talents to be normal. But regardless, if someone excels in class, people generally don't like it, especially at that age. And also because I looked weird according to them, which I mean, if I wanted to go away from that failure, But anyways, point is, I had a lot of like power fantasies and all, and whenever I used to read the novels, um, I didn't I didn't like particular aspects of it because I wanted it to be a power fantasy, right?
Hmm.
So I was reading Harry Potter and I got the idea of, okay, what if every house was associated with like one of the five elements, the five elements of nature, and like what if from there, I'm actually giving you a spoiler, but it's fine. So वहां से मेरे को idea आया कि मतलब कुछ लिखते हैं, but then what I wrote was trash. Let me put it straight. And I kept like writing and throwing away up until I was 13. 13 में मैंने properly एक बार लिखना शुरू किया, थोड़ा सा लिखा, but then again I didn't like it. I had the idea for a like sequel to it where, because by that time I started reading Percy Jackson, so I had an idea for a sequel to it where Kronos is the hero,
Oh,
and
wow.
so yeah. So no, listen. So 14 का जब मैं था, that time I wrote my first proper book, और जो मैंने publishing के लिए दी थी उस वक्त, but वो भी कुछ खास अच्छा था नहीं, because I had that problem of, oh, I'm writing things but it's in my mind, I'm not writing it down on the page. जो problem मेरे को I think अभी भी और काफी लोगों को होती है ये,
Yeah.
कि you think things in your head but you don't write them down. And then I think I went kind of radio silent because I was 10th standard came up. I had to get back up with my grades and all that. Some family trouble came along, and I was also kind of hoping कि थोड़ा सा time देते इसको publish करने का try करते हैं. But then I thought, like I wrote one for Chronos. Let's in that same universe, let's write something related or something, and that is what ended up becoming Dreams of Perfection.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, matlab, it's like 5 steps removed from the original idea. So,
But at
yeah,
least you continued. Like I
yeah,
remember I think years back, I wrote one page of a story. Okay. I had an idea in my mind and I just wrote one page of the story. And at that time I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I'm going to be the next bestseller. And then years after I read it, I'm like, oh my God, this is so cringe. Like I can't
yeah,
believe I wrote it. So at least you moved on with your idea and you put your idea forward, you put it into publishing, so that's actually great. You didn't stop, even if, and first drafts are always anyway rubbish. It's like
yeah,
that's the given. So
yeah,
that's nice that you put it forth so people like us could read it. Such an amazing book, Dreams of Perfection.
yeah.
And okay, so moving on, you're a mathematics major and you obviously would have a knack for logical reasoning and problem solving. So,
Mhm.
how has your mathematical background influenced your approach to world building in this story? Like the concept of real, complex, and imaginary world, the different planets, the dimension jumps, etc.
Hmm. So, the basic thing about mathematics is nothing is as it seems. Because I think this is a very, if you ever talk to someone who has done any maths test ever, they will always say like, oh, the answer looked this way, but actually it was something else, right?
Mm.
And like because what happens is, the thing about mathematics, it's supposed to give you a proper description of reality. Let's put it this
Mm.
way. Like it's supposed to, originally it was quantifying things, right?
Hmm.
What is this?
Novel,
What is the
novel
answer?
Tim has asked,
Yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
theme do you hope to convey through your books and cover?
Actually, it's the correct point to ask this, because I'm getting to that only. So here's the thing. Mathematics originally began as a way to quantify the world around us, right?
Mm.
So now from quantifying it went to like making models and describing the world around us and all that. Now, here's the thing about describing the world around us. If you're describing the world around us, you cannot use examples from the world to describe it, because otherwise that's a circular argument, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I'll tell you the basic problem with this. So let's say if I define, how do I define one, for example?
Hmm.
And does one even need a definition? So I always use this example of like two sticks, right? If I give you one stick and one stick, and I say, what is one stick plus one stick? You're going to say two sticks. But the problem arises when both those sticks are not of the same length. Now,
Hmm.
now the problem is, if they are not of the same length, they can have two meanings. One, they were either manufactured at the same length, right? Or one of them, they are either manufactured the length they are right now, or both of them were manufactured at the same length, and one of them was cut short to make it shorter, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Now, if I still give you them, you'll be like, okay, एक stick का टुकड़ा थोड़ा सा निकल गया है, so that's less than two sticks, right? Because part of it is gone.
Hmm.
And but then if I don't give you that information, you are still going to say two sticks, right? And if I then bring that other stick in, the other jo tukra tha, if I bring that in, that's another shorter stick. You're going to say that's three sticks. But then if I give you that information earlier, you're going to be like, no, this is like part of the stick you're bringing back. So it's still two sticks. So what is it? Is it two sticks or is it three sticks? Right? The point is both are valid, but they both are completely different number systems.
Yeah.
They're completely different ways of looking at it, and therefore you need to define what is one independent of the stick, right? So that aspect, this aspect of nothing is what it seems, and everything has a sort of another level of complexity hidden behind it. This is what I bring into my novels. Like if you see, every single person in my novel are not what they seem like. So I
Yeah.
give a little bit of a spoiler?
Yeah, it's your book. I
Yeah,
think you can give a spoiler.
So see, so the main quote unquote villains, or even think about the heroes for a bit. The heroes who are basically born out, they are basically those who have been harmed by the villains, right? And they have this sort of perfect society which is like further ahead from everyone, but then they send 6-year-olds to battle, and there is this girl who has clearly been harassed, and they look at her in a negative way, right? And then there is the heroes who you like. What are they? They are basically those who deceive you by looking like angels, right? And
Exactly.
but then they completely wipe you out from reality. They are like a perfect invading force in a sense. Like, so basically, if they attack you, if someone hasn't read it, if they attack you and they complete the process of attacking you, then you are gone. There is no evidence of you ever existing. No one will remember
Yeah.
you, right? So the population of the world will keep on decreasing, and no one will be the wiser because no one will remember those people,
Exactly.
right? And yeah, and then these people will come, and they can just when the population is dwindled enough, they can just do whatever the hell they want. So but then it turns out that no, they are under mind control, and what's worse is they are awake in that mind control,
Exactly.
in the sense that their minds are still awake. They can feel themselves doing those things, but they don't want to do those things, right? So it's like nothing is what it seems. That's what I'm even yeah, I want to go in further, but yeah.
I think this sentence could summarize your complete book, that nothing is what it
Yeah,
seems. Like, even the characters
exactly.
you feel are pretty good, they turn out to be something different. And everything is pretty different.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite character from the book, by the way? Like, anybody who you find who is the most relatable to you?
Well, the most relatable to me, I would say, the one which is most like me is James, who's the
Oh,
father of the main character.
hmm.
But the one who is the most relatable to me is actually, I would say, either between Kronos and Ares. It's kind of a draw, and I also know what's going to happen going ahead. So.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at the character as a whole, not just in the book.
I especially liked Evelyn. Like when I first started reading The Dreams of Perfection, in the first she was
Yeah,
introduced as like she was clear villain. But then you get to
yeah,
read her side of story and everything is just so different. Like nothing is as what it seems. So I liked
yeah,
Evelyn the most, I would say.
yeah.
Uh, so
Evelyn,
actually,
Evelyn is going to.
hmm,
Yeah,
yeah, continue.
I'm just saying Evelyn is going to play a large part going forwards.
Oh wow.
I mean, it's implied by the epilogue where
Yeah.
she's present, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
It was actually a surprise for me. Like, yeah, I would give away the spoiler. I won't say anything.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, talking about the Greek mythology, like you have obviously said that these are the most relatable characters to you. So I would say
Mm.
reading the Greek mythology was an unexpected turn in the narrative, and it was unexpected but surely very good. And I especially like the story of Ares, and like the Greek mythology part was very interesting. So how did this Greek angle come forth in the narrative? Like, was it always
Oh,
the
I'm a
plan?
Percy Jackson fan.
Oh,
I'm a Percy Jackson
simple answer.
fan.
Like Percy
Yeah.
Jackson did, I think Percy Jackson introduced half of the readers to the Greek mythology. Nobody
Yeah.
knows Greek mythology more than the Percy Jackson readers.
Yep.
So have you completely watched the new Disney series?
Yeah. I wrote a blog on it.
Oh
So
wow.
yes.
For
Yeah.
audience who don't know, he has his own website, www.nightwalkergc.com, where he writes about the blogs on movies, books, and all. So do check out the blog. I'm going to check out this blog after this session ends about the Percy Jackson.
I'm actually writing my blog right now.
Oh
Yeah.
wow,
Well,
that's so nice.
before the yeah.
Multi-talented person. I said in the beginning, he's a multi-talented person.
Hmm.
So, can you tell
More
us a
so
bit?
perseverance.
Yeah, sorry, continue.
I'm saying I'm more so perseverant. Talent is something you're born with. I'm more so like if I want to do something, I set my mind to it and I don't let it go until I'm perfect at it.
Oh wow, that's even better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, can you tell us more about your journey of becoming an author? Like, you just graduated from college, and how has the journey been since then? Like, are you a full-time author?
I am not earning enough to be full time. I'm trying to um like sort of publicize my novel through various means. The blog I started writing was because of that. My YouTube channel exists kind of because of that. But
Mm.
like also, I mean, it also exists because I love gaming and I want to play games and get share my love for them. But the I do plan on making it a full time thing eventually.
Hmm.
But as of right now, I'm doing my PhD because I
Oh,
think it's not that my PhD is a backup. I do want a PhD. I do want a PhD, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll become a professor. Maybe I'll become a professor and still be a full time author. I don't know what I'm going to do. The only thing I know is I'm going to keep doing what I like. So,
the basic benefit of getting a PhD, I believe, is getting a doctor in front of your name. Like,
oh, someone's
I'm
asking
thinking,
what's the project look.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, I love your eye makeup.
Yeah.
It's so different and unique.
Yeah. You continue first. We'll get to the book podcasters question a little later.
Yeah, I forgot what I was saying.
Sorry.
It's okay, you can continue with the question only now.
Yeah. So the thing about the gothic look is, see, I've had a difficult life. Okay. Um,
Hmm.
I don't want to get into the details of it because it involves other people.
Hmm.
Um, but I have seen, and at a young age, I have seen many things which I shouldn't have seen. I have seen death. I have seen birth. I have seen many horrible things. Okay, and the if you read my book, it kind of becomes apparent that I might have, like my life
Yeah,
might not be the best, right?
yeah,
Uh, so it's the reason I put this is because I used to identify with gothic metal and emo music a lot, like a lot. And I don't know. I feel more at home when I'm doing this. Like it's like without the eyeliner, I feel less of myself than I'm with the eyeliner. Does that make sense? I don't know.
yeah. No, that actually makes sense. Like, I have a friend in college. She dresses emo as well. And like, if we see her without that get up and without everything, she feels a little empty. Like she's
Yeah.
not complete. So I do
Mhm.
get that, eye makeup look. And I actually loved your eyeliner. Like the style you're going through, that's actually nice. Okay, so moving on, your books Dream of Perfection and Sword and Flame have notably different page lengths. Like I'm showing the audience, this
Hmm.
is Dreams of Perfection. This is this 600 pages long, and this is Sword and Flame, like a mere 100 pages long. So, what happened between Dreams of Perfection and Sword and Flame? Like, what was the decision making between the varying lengths to cater to
So,
the narrative?
so the book, the first book is long because it needs to be to
Hmm.
properly explain the complexity behind every single character in a short page length is not easy. But then I realized something, which is that that book is not accessible. Uh, 600 pages is not everyone's cup of
Hmm.
tea. So,
That.
yeah. So my idea was, so there are two things. Firstly, there is in chapter 17, there is something which, uh, if I don't clarify, it could be interpreted as problematic, which I think a reviewer did at a certain point, and I kind of wanted to expand on it. So, so you know that the Sword and Flame is based on the story of a brother of one of the characters from
Yeah.
Dreams
Hmm.
of Affection, right? So,
Yeah.
like, I'm not giving up any spoiler, but chapter 17, there is something about the brother, and
Yeah.
that I needed to expand upon it, and I needed to give proper context to because I can see why someone would interpret that in a problematic manner because it is something controversial,
Hmm.
right? Also, there is something else which I find problematic. No, I don't find problematic as in I think people can interpret as problematic in the first book, which is so. I think in the beginning there's like a proportion where Sheila describes herself in a very sizist language, right? But then
Yeah.
that's because that's how she views herself, right? Like if you view yourself in a negative light, you're going to describe yourself in a sizist way. And similarly, there is another portion which is problematic. I think if you've read it, you will know what I'm talking about. उसके ऊपर भी expand करना है. So अभी right now my plan is कि ये एक afterthought of a dream which is basically it's a side story. That's why it's an afterthought, right? I'm also going to make an aftermath book which is just after this. So these two books are sort of going to cover the gap between the Dreams of Perfection and the true sequel.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
right, the true sequel, I want to jump directly into what the main conflict is. I don't want to do the setup and all that. So
Okay. So you
yeah,
did just give us a hint into the sequel, into the
yeah,
upcoming works.
yeah.
So the narrative in both the books is essentially a mix of magic and technology, and this is perhaps
Mm.
the best combination a fantasy book could have. Like my favorite series, Kate Daniels, has this combination of magic and technology. So what inspired you to combine these elements, and how do you balance the two to create an engaging world to your readers?
Um, well, isn't there the saying that magic is just technology we don't understand?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, the point was why limit yourself to one thing, right? Like if you look at it from the point of view of if you look at it from the point of view of this existing in our world, right? Like if our world actually had the influence of such outlandish creatures such as the dark
Yeah.
angels and all that,
Mhm.
you think people would stop at magic? Like you think someone who is not as good at magic is not going to try and create technology, or people are not going to try and meld technology together
Mhm.
with magic, right? It's going to happen, right? It's going to happen
Yeah.
naturally. So that was the my main goal is always to make it feel as if this is like this is our world plus something like whatever additional pizzazz I'm adding to it. It should still be like what if it's happening in our world? That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's true. And you know what you said, like technology is developed as an alternative to magic. That's also such a unique thought because if I don't have magic, then I'm going to do something else to live in this world, to survive. And that's technology. So, like, that's actually such a cool concept. Since you're such a big fan of Percy Jackson and the new series just came, so have you ever dreamed of your books being adapted into the screen, to the big screen?
Well, one can dream as much as one likes. Let's see if it actually happens.
Yeah. But like, have you ever had a dream cast? You know, when you're writing, you're like imagining an actor, actress, something, and
I want my adaptation to be animated, if at all
that's
it
nice.
happens. Yeah,
That's nice. So are you a big
and I'll
fan
tell
of
you,
anime?
yeah, and I'll tell you what. I also want the voice cast to be entirely voice actors, and not. So okay, if you ever see the voice cast of recent animated movies, things like Invincible, things like Super Pets, and all that, the cast is full of actors.
Yeah.
Now, here's the problem with that. Okay, voice acting is fundamentally a different job from acting. I understand why the voice cast has actors in it, because people are aware of actors. Actors
Mhm.
become stars and all that, Voice actors, nobody knows. If I say Troy Baker, right? He's a very well-known voice actor to those who are into knowing voice acting. But
Mhm.
most common folk won't know who is Troy Baker. Most common folk won't know who is Yuri Lowenthal, and all these people. Yuri Lowenthal, for those of you who don't know, is the voice of Ben 10 in his
Oh.
15 years. Yeah, and he's also the voice of the original Prince of Persia. Not the original,
Okay.
the one in the Sands of Time, right?
Mhm.
Uh, and also, so the point is, I get why someone would want an actor in their voice cast, but it feels like voice acting as a like voice actors, the actual talented ones are kind of put to the side, right? So
Mhm.
if at all my book is adapted, I would make it a point to make it so कि animated भी होना चाहिए, because I hate this. I mean, I understand where it comes from, but I hate this idea of live action being superior to
Mhm.
animation. Both have their quirks. Like there are certain things you cannot do in live action, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
Right? I know live action is more relatable to us, but then certain things need to be animated, and I feel my book is one of those things. Like look at for example, Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse. I do not think that movie would be half as popular if it was live action. Like
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, because the different animation styles
Mhm.
representing different universes and all that. Anyways, sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent. But yeah, but like let me complete that thing. So for example, anyone remember Mark Hamill? Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker. He was originally Luke Skywalker, right? Uh, he actually went into voice acting later on, and he voiced the Joker. The
Oh,
Batman, जो original cartoon था, वो Mark
mhm.
Hamill की voice है. And nobody's going to realize that's Mark Hamill, because I'm telling you
Exactly.
that you will know it's Mark Hamill, right?
Mhm.
So that's what I mean when I say that voice acting is like a talent on its own. If you want, you can have an entire show voiced by just one voice actor, because that the changing of voice is one of the things that voice actors need to do,
Mhm.
right? None of this is to discredit anyone. I'm just saying it's different art styles. Anyway,
Do you have a list of voice actors you're planning to employ in your animated movie in the future?
I would love if Tara Strong comes along. I don't think she will.
I
Tara
hope.
Strong, for those of you who don't know, she voiced her childhood. Every single character in every single childhood show at least has three characters or four characters voiced by Tara Strong.
So I hope she comes in an animated movie. I hope she's the one who gives voice.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we wrap up the session, our audience is eager to know what GC Nightwalker reads. So, what books would you recommend authors you currently read? Are they the same genre as you?
Um, I would actually suggest reading Ordinary Men by Charles. I don't remember the author's name, but it's on the recommended thing that you
Mhm.
guys put out some time ago. Uh, so the book is following a group of soldiers who were like polished soldiers, and it kind of follows their journey from being, well mannered, following well rule following citizens who had wives and children, and how during the Second World War, they step by step they turned into essentially people who would bring out naked pregnant women into the streets and shoot them in the back of the head, right?
Oh, damn.
Sorry, that got हो गया. Point is, it kind of goes into something which which is a fundamental philosophy uh, in the books that I write, which is everyone has capacity to do evil. And if you do not recognize the capacity inside yourself, the capacity to do evil within yourself, because we have this, sort of way of looking at the world that we think of evildoers as, that person is just evil. That person is a monster. That person, I can never be like that person. Not realizing that darkness within ourselves or around the world can guide anyone to go down a dark path, right?
Yeah,
I'm not
true.
saying, yes, there are some people who are just bad for the sake of being bad, but 99% of the time, it's someone who was really amazing and who went through terrible dark times and, became a bad person. And if you're not vigilant about it, not only can you lose yourself to it, you can fall trapped to certain bad people. Like, how many times has it happened that someone you go to someone who is like struggling, and you feel that, they are struggling and maybe I should help them and whatnot, but then you realize that once you healed them, they actually turn out to be very bad people, right? And I don't want to go too much into this because then it will become controversial, but yeah. So the point is, I would suggest that book for that reason. Other than that, अगर किसी को कुछ लाइट पढ़ना है, कौन रोने का इमोजी डाल रहे थे? Other than that, अगर किसी को कुछ लाइट पढ़ना है तो पर्सी जैक्सन पढ़ो, ठीक है? वो अच्छा है. ज्यादा डार्क भी अच्छा नहीं है क्योंकि फिर जिंदगी खराब हो जाती है. About the sequel novel Alchemy, I will just say I am actually working on a separate project right now. So I actually need to catch up. First of all, I need to catch up on my grades during my PhD. थोड़ा सा गिर गया हूँ मैं. And secondly, I also am working on a separate project, which is called Anna, I Will Not Destroy Us. I don't want to give away what it is yet, but it's going to be interesting. Let's see. So I think first, तो सबसे पहले I'm going to do the Aftermath book or the Anna I book. Then I'll see about the true sequel. और उसके पहले मेरे को PhD ठीक से करनी है. देखते हैं क्या कब होता है.
Well, best of luck for your PhD as well, and hope we get to see a new sequel soon. Okay, well, the floor is now open to any more audience questions if people might have. Although I think the people are satisfied with the sequel news only, like I am. Because sequels are almost always so much fun, and the wait is even more exciting. Like, I just recently read a book and then it ends on a cliffhanger, and then I noticed that the next book comes out in January next year. So the wait is going to be long, painful, but also exciting. So I will be desperately waiting for your next sequel. And that brings us to the end of our incredible live session with the one and only GC Nightwalker. I want to extend a huge thank you to you, GC, for joining us today and sharing your valuable insights and the journey behind both these amazing books. It has been an absolute pleasure having you here with us. Novel Alchemy just asked, which is your favorite Shadowhunter book? Shadowhunter books.
Shadowhunter. Okay,
Yeah.
तो मैं honestly बोलता हूँ, Shadowhunter I read the original series, which is the Mortal Instruments, and I read the Infernal Devices. I could not complete the Dark Artifices because at that point it was becoming a bit much. Because it's kind of the same reason I stopped reading Percy Jackson, because authors have this problem, and I hope I don't go through this problem, but authors have this problem that they keep doubling down on certain tropes that keep working for them. And I started noticing that in the Dark Artifices. So my favorite book for the Shadowhunters series is that one. What was that? It was
Mortal Instruments.
no Mortal Instruments में ही कोई है क्या है? मेरे को उसका नाम याद करने दो. I think it's City of Heavenly Fire, which is the 6th book in Mortal Instruments. Yeah,
The
City of
first
Heavenly
5
Fire.
was the second to fifth three was just like their brothers and sisters. How would we like those books?
Yeah, I also like Infernal Devices as a series, but if you ask me for a book, I'll say City of Heavenly Fire. But Infernal Devices is really something else. Like, so to give a little bit of a spoiler, अगर किसी को नहीं सुना तो कान बंद कर ले. But Infernal Devices has a love triangle, but it handles it in a very mature way. In the sense that you would expect that, okay, there's a girl, there are two guys, and those two guys are like besties in a way. They're best friends. I'm butchering this, but point is, both of them like the same girl. You would expect there would be like fighting in between them and all that, but no. Basically, there's this point in the story where she decides to marry one of them, and he falls ill, and she's kidnapped. So someone needs to go save her. And at that point, the ill guy realizes that the other guy the other guy also likes Tessa, and he's like, I'm so happy that you like her because now I feel that you are going to go above and beyond into saving her. Like it's like the ultimate level of maturity. कि उसको कुछ नहीं है कि हाँ ठीक. He's like, okay, if she's happy with you, she's happy with you. I don't really care. Even the other guy is like, yeah, if she's happy with him, let him be with him, right?
They're both sacrificing.
Yeah, and all three of them love each other in some sense. Someone is कोई ना कोई इसको इसमें गंदगी डालेगा, but it's what it is.
That's why I hate love triangles. Like, I just don't like the love triangles because then I need to choose like which character I need to ship with, and I don't want that responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, I just want one character.
Yeah. But इस केस में it's like all three of or she ends up with both of them eventually because the girl is immortal. So
yeah, that's one of the benefits of being immortal. There's no love triangle. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our session. Thank you, GC, for gracing this session, and thank you to the wonderful audience for being so interactive and for your participation and engaging questions. For those who want to stay connected with GC, don't forget to follow him on his social media and check out his website, www.nightwalkergc.com. The link for all his books will be available in the Instagram Booknerds bio. You can also follow Booknerds on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and stay updated for more such exciting events and live sessions. Happy reading, and we look forward to connecting with you all soon. Till then, stay curious, take care, and keep exploring the world of literature. Thank you, GC.
okay.